Okay, so I'm back just finishing off the coloration again, slightly overcooked the last one, ran out of time. Um, so again, with this, we can take the colors straight out using the eyedropper from the neighboring image once we've got one, because we went through the trouble of formatting all these correctly, etc. We should then be able to do the same thing, either sampling it off others or just keep going in, picking the same color. But you can see sometimes it'll work on a pixel value. It's a little bit tricky. What I'm going to assume in this case is that I'm going to use the standard colors that are over here, and we'll see if they look right, because I don't like to have too many colors. Let's use the lighter one within my composition. Okay, so like so, final one. Okay. We also have this one's grayed out because it's presumably been done, so it's gone to grayed out, which is what the designer's trying to show. Again, I'm just going to use the same principal color, okay, just to match up with this. Likewise, in these boxes, temporarily, what I'm going to do is select. I'll use the darker kind of, I don't know what you call this, sort of browny grey, warm grey. Switch it around, and then what I'm going to do with this is take the one at the top, which has been completed, and again they've just slightly shaded it just to show it's been done. So I'll give it that fill. Painful. Bring my colour forward, and I will just create a new swatch with that colour. Come to this one. I only want the top, so I double click to go into symbol editing, group editing mode, and I can now fill that with the colour. Okay, step back like so. We're kind of getting there again. Text, final things, little touches. This text is similar to that colour, so again I'm going to use this one. Trying to think if there's anything else really obvious on there. It's looking pretty good. I might find that actually this is even lighter when we look in this one. I think this has got a little bit more colour to it. So let's bring them back to this colour. Like so. So I probably want to make a new swatch for this colour, which looks a little darker maybe than I've got it here. Go back out, you can sort of see whether we're getting there. Don't think we're doing too badly. I'm going to step back on those two. And then what I'm going to do with this is actually make this lighter again. Again, probably just use the eyedropper, pick it up. So we're getting there now. Okay. You get rid of this transform. I'm just going to dock it over here. And just close these. So it's starting to look more like it. We've got a few things that still need to sort out. Getting there, piece by piece. Just double click, edit. Let's fill it with this colour for now. I'll come back later. That one I'm actually going to fill with this colour, and then I will use transparency, which is usually this one here. Okay, if you can't see it, go to Window, down to Transparency, and I'm just going to dial it back about 50% perhaps. Looks about right. Okay. You can see there's maybe a little bit chunkier and thinner, so I could adjust it. But I'm going to leave it for now. It'll do. Don't want to be faffing around too much. Final thing might be to pick the colours out of here. I'm going to assume that maybe this one is actually white, or just this slightly off-white colour like the page. And likewise with this one, the same. We could always introduce a secondary colour, but I think for now we'll leave it. What I would do when I go to my next round is I'd start to improve this. I'll look at whether this might be knocked back again, maybe with opacitive. Let's do it now while we're here. Might just ghost it back again. We like this idea of dominance. Something clearly sort of stands out. Again, I'm just going to cherry pick that colour. I'll do the same thing. Let's knock this back even to 50. Maybe it's a bit much. 60. Make this one for now solid white. I'll show you how to make the proper battery icon later. Let's use that and make it the same 60. Okay. So we're pretty much there. It's just this icon in the center and then the depth of field on here. And what I would normally be doing with a lot of these elements is I sometimes might take this into Photoshop and apply drop shadows, etc. in there. I'm going to show you how to do it in Illustrator and in Photoshop. We're going to use Smart Objects into Photoshop, which is very powerful. And it allows you to sort of make edits if you find you need to edit an Illustrator file. You just double click and open it. If you've got both, it makes sense. You could try and make all this inside Photoshop, but you'd be a bit mad too. As you can see, Illustrator is extremely powerful with its alignment and adjustments of things. So this area here, you can see on the original, we actually have a like what looks like a stroke, although in reality it's like a drop shadow, and there's a gap around these shapes. So I need to create that gap, and then effectively the icon is white or just slight off-white. So as you can see in here, I've kind of got a stroke already around the object. Now, what I can do is I can take that object. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see a bit more clearly. I'm going to take that object, go to its path properties. I'm going to choose an option called outline stroke. What this will do is it will stop it being a stroke, and effectively it has made it into a shape which is now editable. If I switch to preview mode, you can see there's actually three. This is the original shape in the middle, okay, which still has the fill, and then this is the outer shape. Okay, so what I can do now, I can go into that and I can cut out this shape. Okay, and I'm going to paste it back in. So that's like a donut, effectively. And do the same on this side. Keep double clicking, cut it out, paste. The reason I've cut them out and paste them is I want to unite them using Pathfinder in a second. So bring up Pathfinder, hit unite, so they become one. Okay, I'm just going to make a copy, Control C or Command C. What I want to do is go into this edit. So remember I grouped this earlier on, so we have a single shape. I don't want any fill on it. I can zoom out for a second and pick up the color I want. So I'm going to use this white or off-white color. Okay, I'm going to paste in place, which will bring back the donut copy that I put in. Let's just change the colors. Oops. That's being paint. Okay, need to bring these to the front. Arrange, bring to front. And then I'm going to use the Pathfinder and minus front option. Sorry. Should be cutting these out. Right, I'll just have to explore what's going on here a second. Just give me a sec. There we go. That's what it should have done. So I must have gone too far into the group layer. Can't cut it out. I've just stepped back up one layer at the moment. Okay, if I just delete these shapes, you can see what's left here. I want to again either double click to go into that and delete these two spaces in the middle. Okay, so we now have our basic shape, and we also, oops, let's go back to the beginning. We also have these donuts. Okay, copy them or cut them, whichever you want. I'm going to use the white arrow, switch to the white arrow, and we've got two shapes here. We've got the inner shape and then the outer shape for each one. I'm just going to click on the outer one. I'm going to hit delete, and then we hit delete again to get rid of the entire shape. This is going to leave me with that perfect inner shape. Okay, so I just used the white arrow, selected one of the pixels on the outer path only, and what happens when it removes that, it just makes these solid by default. I can join them. In fact, now I just need to deselect for a second. It's getting itself in a bit of a state. Select, deselect. Just want to select these two, and I'm going to cut them out. So, cut. It's because I've got type in here, and I'm in so many different objects. I'm in the screen elements. Things are in different places. I'm making life difficult. It's not the best tutorial I've ever made. I'm just going to paste in place, which is Control or Command F. Now I can unite these into a single shape, so it's going to treat them as one object, compound object. Okay, just hit Unite, and there we go. Step back, sees that as one object. Because this is going to be live text, I'm going to leave it live. Obviously, I could make it into an outline shape and punch it out, but because I'm wanting to be able to edit it potentially, leave it but match the color and step back like so. So we've got that icon created, and it looks quite similar, albeit that this appears to have some sort of drop shadow. We'll sort that out in a second, either in here or we can do it in Photoshop. If you found that you hadn't made your stroke, you can see the stroke maybe could have done with being a little bit wider, but for me it's fine. It still separates them as different visual elements. So I'm basically there now. The only thing that bugs me at the moment is that this is much wider than this. So again, like I said, being a bit pedantic about these things, I might go in and just adjust it like so. Okay, so we're basically there. We're ready to go to the final phase, which is taking it into Photoshop. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make one more video in Illustrator. I'm going to move this out of the way, add a new artboard, and I'm going to create a full version of this, which is going to be fully working within Illustrator with the drop shadows and stuff inside. So I can show you, you could do this entire process in Illustrator. In fact, I would do this entire thing in Illustrator because I'm a big fan of it. Obviously, if you're not and you prefer Photoshop, you could easily sort that out. Just find that I've moved a couple of these elements a tiny bit, so I just moved that one back. Must have accidentally budged it, and we're there. Okay, if you wanted to, you could make this one a bit darker. In the original, it just uses a drop shadow to separate it. Sorry, there's one thing I'm going to show you yet: gradient in the background. So this background here in the original, it has a gradient from top to bottom, so we want that as well. I'm going to bring out this so we can see both the color palette and the gradient tabs at the same time. Okay, it is important that you have these colors in your palettes, so I'm just going to add them, put them on the end here, by just clicking to add them in like so. They're all RGB colors, so they're there, and these three. Select this area here, go to my gradient, and I can drag on these colors. So I want the yellow at one end, I want the orange in the middle, can literally make sure it's exactly in the middle if I want, and I want the dark orange at the bottom. It's a linear gradient, which means straight line. Now you can see it's applying it in the wrong direction. So with the fill at the front, I want to choose the gradient tool. Where I click is the beginning, drag down, and where I release is the bottom. Okay. What you can also do with that tool selected, you can go onto it, and if you want the transition to occur in a different place, so I'm quite happy that the midtones are in the right place. I think the darker end needs to come in a bit more. So these are your colors on the right here, and then these are the blend points, which are effectively how much of this middle color there is. So I can move these around either on screen like this to make the orange a bit richer, or I can do it on the slider and you'll see the effect in screen. I might even decide that this looks too light, even though it might be accurate. It doesn't look right to me, in which case I'm going to create a new color and just override it so it doesn't go too yellow at the top. And I'm happy with that. I just let go, and you can see we're getting there. So on to the next video. I'll show you how to finish it in Illustrator, how to finish it in Photoshop.